Recall that a standard form categorical syllogism has exactly three terms, a minor term, a major term, and a middle term, and each one of those terms appears exactly 2 times each in the syllogism, and importantly, they appear exactly the same way both times they appear, letter for letter. But sometimes we're going to be presented with categorical syllogisms that aren't in standard form because they have more than 3 terms. So for example, all people victorious in contests are happy people. All people who come in first place are contest winners. Therefore, all first place finishers are joyful people. We got a lot of terms here. We've got people victorious in contests. We've got happy people and people who come in first place and contest winners and first place finishers and joyful people. This is too many terms. Okay, so we've got to reduce the number of terms. And the first strategy we should employ when reducing the number of terms is to look for synonyms, is to look for words that mean virtually the same thing as each other. So, for example, when we look at our list here, we see we have people victorious in contests and contest winners. And what we would do is we would just choose one of those to use in our standard form categorical syllogism. Which one you choose is up to you. I'd probably go with contest winners because it's fewer words and it seems a little less awkward than people victorious in contests. We've also got, of course, happy people and joyful people. Are those exactly the same? No, we could argue that being happy and being joyful are slightly different, but for the purposes of getting our argument into standard form, let's choose one. Let's go with happy people, since it seems like all joyful people are happy, but not all happy people are necessarily joyful. So we've got happy people, contest winners. And now, of course, we come down to people who come in first place and first place finishers. That's the same thing, but first place finishers is a little less wordy, a little less awkward. And so now we've whittled this down to just 3 terms, and we can rewrite the argument using these 3 terms. All contest winners are happy people. All first place finishers are contest winners. All first place finishers are happy people. And now we've got this categorical syllogism in standard form, and we can start to do things with it, okay? Now, sometimes when we're trying to reduce the terms, it's not going to be quite so easy or straightforward, and it's going to require more interpretation on our part. So take a look at this argument. All beers are drinks with hops. Some IPAs are super hoppy beverages. Therefore, some India Pale Ales are brews. So we've got beers and drinks with hops and IPAs and super hoppy beverages and India Pale Ales and brews. So again, how do we reduce down these terms? We look for synonyms. Beers, brews, those words are slightly different in meaning, since sometimes when we talk about brew, we're talking about coffee. But in this context, we know, well, this person's probably talking about beer, that specific brew. So we're going to choose that as our term. Now here it gets kind of funky, because we've got drinks with hops and super hoppy beverages. And these aren't quite the same thing. Not every drink with hops is a super hoppy beverage. There's plenty of drinks where the hops are barely detectable. Okay, so we've got drinks with hops and super hoppy beverages. Super hoppy beverages is going to be a very narrow range of drinks or beers or whatever the beverages are. But I can see with the other terms that the argument is concerned with IPAs, which is known for being one of the hoppiest kinds of beers. So maybe it makes sense to go with super hoppy beverages since we're talking about IPAs in this syllogism. But not every IPA is super hoppy. There's some IPAs that aren't really all that hoppy at all and probably shouldn't even be called IPAs. So for that sake, let's say we're just going to go with drinks with hops, because that's going to include way more of the IPAs that we are arguing about in this syllogism. And then IPAs and India Pale Ales, that's a coin toss there. They mean the same thing. So depending on who our audience is, maybe we go with India Pale Ales because we're afraid they won't know what IPAs are. But if we're arguing for a group of beer drinkers, then maybe we go with IPAs because they're going to know what those are. And then we rewrite the argument. All beers are drinks with hops. Some IPAs are drinks with hop. Therefore, some IPAs are beers. All right. So the first strategy when having to reduce the number of terms in a given categorical syllogism is to look for synonyms.